This is the Leica M11. It was released 100 years ago and completely changed the way people take photographs. And this is the new Leica M11. It's a fantastic camera, but only an evolution of the already great M10. Are we looking at the pinnacle of Leica design, or will they bring an innovative product ever again? Leica's first models defined the camera as we know it today. It's a small device that you put in your backpack together with some food and water and use to take photos of the scenery on your trip. This allowed for photography to become an activity in the lives of ordinary people rather than the cumbersome and complex profession that it had previously been. The first models of Leica cameras are actually very similar to the cameras we use today. Shutter speed is set on top, aperture number on the lens, and a film with ISO 400 goes inside, exposed correctly, and the scene in front of you is recorded. This concept and its impact on photography meant the entry of new companies and basically created the entire industry. In 1954, Leica introduced the M camera to the world. The fundamentals of its design were speed and simplicity. This allowed for the most famous street photos from the giants of this art to emerge. Then the war in Vietnam happened, and the Leica M2 and especially M3 with the Leica with fast winder system created the ultimate reportage camera. Then the Leica M4 brought even more options and functions. But in 1959, Nikon introduced its first SLR, and Leica started to struggle. They released the M5 with an added exposure meter, but the camera bulkiness and size didn't match the previous generations, sales were low, Leica wasn't making a lot of money, and so to get out of this crisis, they started manufacturing in Canada. Released, for example, the M4P and returned to the original strengths of the earlier M cameras instead of further innovation. Then the CL was created in cooperation with Minolta, but its build quality was of a lower standard compared to the M line. By this time, the competition had outgrown Leica and the electronic M7 was just catching up to what other companies had introduced decades earlier. Leica became a small company, and due to the financial demands of the transition to digital technology, it had no chance to become a leading innovator again. And it was also around this time when Leica decided to change their thinking. They understood it makes no sense to compete with competitors' size, capital and innovation potential, so here comes the M8, the first digital Leica M camera. It was no longer a camera for everyone, but more of a luxury variant to big and heavy DSLRs. But with the introduction of social media and mobile phones, the photography industry experienced a huge shock. It immediately destroyed compact cameras and dark clouds began to form over the entire industry, except for Leica, which long ago gave up on its products to automatically take a good photo quickly and easily, which is exactly what smartphones began to offer to the average user. The whole camera market has shrunk and the companies in it have realized that they need to work together. That is why today most companies use Sony sensors. Then in 2014, the partnership between Leica and Panasonic began, and this is how today's Leica was created. A company that takes technology from other companies and is now pretty much a luxury brand for a small percentage of the market. And here we are, finally, in the present times. Today, there are more people on the planet than ever in history who can afford an above standard lifestyle and can buy luxury items. And Leica offers plenty of these things. Sure, we can tell ourselves that the Q with that perfect 28mm Samilux is a really great camera and it's actually cost effective because of how much the Samilux itself would cost. But the truth is that you can mount the Fuji 80mm f1.4 on the Xe3, and the differences compared to the Q, at least for non-professional social media use, will be negligible. Still, I have to admit that I really want to buy the Leica M10, if for nothing else than for the experience of composing a photo through the optical viewfinder. But I'm not sure my photos will look any better, maybe even worse. The learning curve will be quite steep. In short, Leica is a lot like a manufacturer of luxury watches. The original purpose of showing time is just a perk of wearing a piece of jewelry. Just look at Instagram how many Leica photographers are posting mostly photos of themselves holding a beautiful Leica M camera. And like luxury mechanical watches, people are buying them for this reason as well. And yes, you can throw at me the Leica SL2, which is a great camera even for professionals, but to what extent is it a Panasonic or Sony camera in a beautiful Leica body? To what extent is it a beautiful luxury watch with a movement from another company inside? But even so, it doesn't make the camera body an unimportant thing. I myself marveled enough on this channel over quality of manufacturing and beautiful simplicity of the digital Leica CL. And in today's globalized world, most companies no longer make all of their products themselves anyway. Car companies have merged into large car concerns, and whether it's Volkswagen or Audi, they have the same engine and platform. So I don't think that Leica is going to revolutionize anything, not even by the standards of its last 50 years. They will continue doing what's been working so well, releasing luxury cameras and lenses. Just recently, Leica increased the price of its products across the board and presented the limited edition of Samicron 20mm in matte black. That's the direction they are going. Even the recent withdrawal of the Summarit line is symbolic in this regard. The 35, 50, 75 and 90mm Summarids were cheaper variants of the Samicron. They used to go at eBay for less than $1,000, so it's obvious why Leica cancelled their production. The cheapest basic Leica Prime cannot be sold for so little. And I think that when Leica stopped selling the Summarids, they found out an important piece of information. When people couldn't buy a Summarid, they bought twice as expensive Samicron. So today, Leica offers Apo variants of its M lenses at eye-watering prices, which makes the non-Apo lenses look more affordable. And so from this point of view, it looks like we are at the beginning of a significant increase in prices, and in 5 years it will not be possible to find used Samicrons under $2,000 on eBay. So I don't think we are in for anything really interesting coming out of Leica in the near future. The new M11 may be an example of that. Compared to the M10, it's like looking at the iPhone 13 versus 12. It's not a bad thing, everyone is doing it, and both M10 and M11 are excellent cameras. So my takeaway is this: let's stop crying over current prices of Leica gear, and even more important, about prices from only a few years ago. Let's break out the piggy bank and buy something because it will not get cheaper. Let's cherish the beautiful historical pieces and definitely don't get rid of them. And most of all, let's enjoy the build quality, design and experience of casual photography. That is why we buy Leica. Even if it's only the discontinued CL, another great Leica camera that didn't survive the competitive pressure of the mainstream photography market.